Good midnight, NWS Revolution members and viewers. This is your head of NWS Talent Relations and 2023 NWS Hall of Famer, Michael Cole. And today, Michael Cole, I'm going to give you last night's NWS Revolution Impact Reveal. And what a good NWS Revolution Impact it was. Okay, the commentators for NWS Revolution Impact are Joe Gale and Dan Abbott, and it took place in the Gasa in New Orleans, Louisiana. As NWS Head of Talent Relations and 2023 NWS Hall of Famer Michael Cole, I'm in the wing with a microphone, and I welcome the fans to the Gasa in New Orleans, Louisiana, and break down the match card and tell the fans to enjoy the show as I'm about to go to the Algiers courthouse in New Orleans to represent NWS Revolution owner, chairman, and CEO Scott Gale. So it's NWS Revolution President Ethan Zobel and NWS Revolution Vice President Lincoln Potter present the trial of NWS Revolution owner, chairman, and CEO Scott Gale, also known as ScottyBadbones Part 1. The Deadly Renegades Society testify against Scott Gale. Court is in session with the People's Court theme playing do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Judge Millian is welcome to the bench as Scott Gale is with his lawyer, and Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter are representing the Deadly Renegade Society and ask the questions as the DRS says Scott Gale is an abuse of power owner and is always attacking his employees, threatening them and forcing them to wrestle against their own will, and says that Scott Gale needs to be removed as owner, chairman, and CEO as the DRS step down from the witness stand, which is absolute bullshit. The reason why Scott Gale does is because Scott Gale's employees abuse him. So Scott Gale is acting in self-defense. As I was one of the jailers was at that court. And then Joe Gale and Dan Lambert root for Scott Gale to win this trumped-up trial as they plugged the first match. And the first match was the NWS Tag Team Championships match. The McGoverns, Robin Jacob McGovern, when defeat versus Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio with Paul Heyman. Robin Jacob stopped things off with Rob having the advantage early on in the exchange of holds before tagging in Jacob. The McGoverns dropped Dominic and Finn with twice over as Paul Heyman tries to get involved, only for some podium motion to take him out of the ring. Dominic starts to get an upper hand on Jacob after this, but Jacob takes him down with a whisper in the wind for a near fall. The ref gets distracted by Paul Heyman as the McGoverns hit the ropes, allowing for a blindside by Dominic before he gets in the tag, beating up Jacob in the corner before getting a near fall tag to Finn now as he goes after Jacob, only for Rob to send him out of the ring. Finn Balor doesn't let this go on for long as he brings in Dominic and Finn back into the ring for a tag, going after Rob himself before making another tag to Dominic. But Jacob gets the hot tag as the McGoverns wins. Rob go off on Dominic and Balor and Finn here, taking Dominic and Finn out of the way before hitting a twist of fate on Dominic and Finn for the pin. But Paul Heyman saves the match by putting Finn Balor's foot on the bottom rope. The McGoverns go after Heyman for this before being rolled up by Dominic, but not even been using the ropes for leverage. It's a more than a near fall. So Finn Balor and Dominic take Robin Jacob down for a near fall, but it's Jacob breaking the things up this time. Tag to Wagner as he hits a double DDT on Finn Balor and Dominic, followed by a leg drop to both men's going for a good measure. Finn goes after the McGoverns as they get back to his feet, but it's taken down for twist of fate by Jacob and for Southampton's plunge and the Swanton bomb. The McGoverns deliver the 3D to get the pin and pin for the win and retain the NWS Tag Team titles. Win and still NWS Tag Team Champions. The McGoverns via pinfall with 3D as this match lasted 14 minutes and 15 seconds. And Michael Cole, gotta say, this was a good match. I mean, Wab and Jacob McGovern are unstoppable. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can stop the McGoverns. Who is going to be the next tag team to take the titles off of the McGoverns? Would I ever have? Because they just continue to dominate and dominate and dominate, and you got to respect that. You got to give Wab and Jacob McGovern credit for that. As Joe Gale and Dan Lambert plugged the next match, and it was Psycho Mercer versus Vinnie Joe with Paul Heyman. There must be a winner. This was the second match as Psycho Mercer and Vinnie Joe wrestled back and forth, with Psycho going absolutely crazy and Psycho on Vinnie as he slams his head on out for turnbuckles, pounds away on him, chokes him up the ropes until Vinnie rakes Psycho Mercer in the eyes, low blows him, then elbow drops him. Paul Heyman gets involved and chokes Psycho Mercer with the ring ropes. Vinnie beats down Psycho Mercer for a good 8 minutes, looking dominant, then uses his heel tactics as he gives him a scoop slam, elbow strikes, then choke slams him, and was about to club stop Psycho Mercer, but Psycho Mercer trips Vinnie Joe and goes psychotic on him as he stomps a mud hole in him and Vinnie Joe and walks it dry. Gives them bench presses, Psycho Stunners, those Psycho Bombs, and Psycho Busters. Vinnie Joe John pins them 1, 2, 3. Winner Psycho Mercer via pinfall with Psycho Stunner, Psycho Bomb, and Psycho Buster as this match lasted 11 minutes and 17 seconds. This was a good match. This was a very good match. And this just in, Michael Scott's Minor has healed from his brutal assault by Psycho Mercer, and it has been confirmed that Psycho Mercer and Michael Scott's Minor will go one-on-one this coming Sunday at Revolution Loaded, and it's going to be up to Psycho Mercer and Michael Scott's Minor to choose what kind of match they want. And then Vinnie Joe then leaves the arena to go to the New Orleans Algiers Courthouse. NWS Revolution President Ethan Zobel and NWS Revolution Vice President Lincoln Potter present the trial of Scott Casey Gale, also known as ScottyBadbones Part 2. Vinnie Joe testifies against Scott Casey Gale. Vinnie Joe approaches the stand and says how Scott Casey Gale is evil and corrupt and keeps letting power get to his head, then punishes his wrestlers and NWS staff for no apparent reason whatsoever. Vinnie Joe then says Scott never gave him a shot at singles titles, as Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter agree. Potter says that is grounds for removal of ownership. Judge Million says how ridiculous Vinnie Joe sounds and tells him to stop being a crybaby and whiner and get off the witness stand. Oh, she told you, Vinnie Joe. She told you. Judge Million does not mess around. As Joe Gale and Dan Lambert say what a whiner Vinnie Joe is as they plug the next match, and it was match number 3. Zubair TV versus Devin the Demon. This was the third match as Zubair and Devin trade blows, with Zubair taking down Devin and giving him a spinning heel kick and a tilt-a-whirl. Devin comes back with a clothesline, big boot, and uppercut, then a back body drop of a fallaway slam as Devin when powerbombed Zubair and was about to deliver the tombstone pile driver, but Zubair moves out of the way and catches Devin and body slams him and spears him and then nails a jackhammer. Zubair hits a missile drop, taking a flying elbow on Devin and nails a superfly splash shades of the late Jimmy Superfly Snooker on Devin for the pinfall winner. Zubair TV via pinfall with Superfly splash as this match lasted 10 minutes. Oh, what a great match. Zubair TV is impressive in the NWS Revolution. And then Joe Garner and Dan Lambert plug the next match and go over the rules, which is match number 4, and which in my eyes, Michael Cole, thinks was the match of the night. And one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I have ever seen and have ever witnessed. And one of the best of 7 series matches I have ever seen and ever witnessed. Okay, it's best of 7 series final match, Hell in a Cell. The Fox versus Brian Fury. This was the 4th match as the Hell in a Cell lowers. The Fox and Brian Fury square off with Fox waylaying into Fury as he gives him a Hurricane Rana and a body avalanche, then claws him in the face. Fury clotheslines Fox, then tosses him into the cell while as he hits him with a double arm DDT and then with a steel chair and gives an STO as Fox comes back with a faraway slam and plants that doomsday device, but does not pin him as he gets a bag full of nails and screws and thumbtacks, dumps them on the mat, and plants another doomsday device onto the nails, screws, and thumbtacks as Fury writhes in pain. He picks up a barbed wire baseball bat and whacks Fury in the face with it, busting him wide open. Fury gains his momentum back and gets a guitar and smashes it over the head of the Fox, busting him wide open now. They bleed profusely and fight to the top of the cell and trade punches as Fox nails a doomsday device off the top of the cell and through the announcer's table. Joe Garley yells on commentary with true wrestling passion, "Oh my God!" And a passionate, emotional Dan Lambert says, in the words of good old J.R. Jim Ross, "For the love of God, will somebody stop the damn match?" As Brian Fury is being loaded and carried away on a stretcher, he slowly gets off the stretcher and wants to continue, gets back in the cell. The match continues. Both men beat the hell out of each other, use weapons such as kendo sticks, single point canes, hammers, screwdrivers, and even the kitchen sink on each other. A passionate Joe Garley and Dan Lambert wonder how the match can still continue. A wooden table is set over a glass table. Brian Fury sets them on fire as they battle to the top of the cell again as Fox is about to nail the doomsday device, but Brian Fury blocks it and delivers the last right powerbomb through the cell and flaming wooden and glass table, then gets the pinfall, ending the best of 7 series matches. Winner Brian Fury via pinfall with last right powerbomb through the top of the cell of the Hell in a Cell and flaming wooden and glass table as this match lasted 29 minutes and 45 seconds. And all Michael Cole have got to say is that is how you end the best of 7 series. Hell in a Cell is the way to go. That is how you put on a Hell in a Cell match. What a match. What a match. What's going to happen next between Brian Fury and the Fox? I could definitely see them becoming a tag team. Oh boy, can you imagine Brian Fury and the Fox as a tag team? They could be unstoppable. I want to see that. The fans want to see that. Let it happen. And then Joe Garden and Dan Abbott saying commentary that was without a doubt the greatest, if not the greatest, Hell in a Cell matches match and best of seven series they have ever called, bar none. And I, Michael Cole, completely agree with them. That was definitely the best Hell in a Cell match the NWS Revolution has ever put out there. And then NWS Revolution President Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter that testified against Scott Gale. Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter then approached the stand. Zobel makes claims that Scott Gale is a hidden racist and does shady things behind the scenes and mistreats his employees with lousy paychecks and needs to be stopped. Potter, Lincoln Potter, that is, makes claims that the whole entire Scott Gale being a chill, calm dude, a nice guy, is a cover up, and says and Lincoln Potter says Scott Gale is secretly a criminal and a troll with a hidden agenda that he will expose. Lincoln Potter claims that Scott Gale sends other YouTube soccer accounts to bully and troll YouTubers, and he is laughing at the YouTubers getting bullied and harassed. Zobel and Potter also make claims that Scott Gale is a hacker and stalker. Scott's lawyer yells objection as Judge Millian says she has had enough of Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter's false accusations and tells them get off the stand or she will throw them in contempt. As Dan Abbott says, Judge Millian does not mess around. As he and Joe Gardy plugged the co-main event, yes. But ha ha ha, Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter. Oh boy, the Judge Millian tell you she does not screw around and she does not take any bullshit from anybody. Once she tells you to get off the stand, you better get off the stand. As it was the co-main event, match number 5, NWS Universal Championship Jai Da Vinci with co-general manager Don Callis versus Damian Priest. The co-main event match began with the two locking up before Priest backed Da Vinci into the corner. Priest trash talked Da Vinci, but Jai Da Vinci guards Priest's eyes to back them up into the opposite corner. Priest went for an Irish whip, but Da Vinci slid before hitting a twisting leg drop on Priest into the apron, followed by a knee drop up the apron on Priest before the commercial break. Back from the break, Da Vinci hits a toe kick on Priest before lowering the ropes to send Priest flying to the outside. Priest hits a knee lift on Da Vinci, but Da Vinci responded by tossing Priest into the ring post. Priest went for a backdrop on Da Vinci onto the timekeeper's area, but Da Vinci landed on his feet before Da Vinci went for a move up the barricade, but Priest caught him mid-air with a jab back in the ring. Priest had Da Vinci in the corner and caught him with another jab before hitting an Irish whip into a thrust kick for a near foul. Priest got a headlock on Da Vinci, but Da Vinci got out of the hold with a chin breaker. But Priest caught Da Vinci with a back elbow for a near foul. Priest gets a bow and arrow hold on Da Vinci before hitting an elbow onto Da Vinci's back. Rollins responded with a German with a Gamonoragi kick on Priest before the two exchanged punches. Johnny hit a series of chops and punches on Priest before catching them with a short-hand clothesline. Da Vinci hit a toe kick, a gut kick, and discus lariat on Priest before Priest and went for a frog splash, but Priest evaded and hit a stage dive on Da Vinci in the corner. Da Vinci went for a pedigree, but Priest tossed Da Vinci to the back, tossed Da Vinci to break the hold before Da Vinci hit a sling blade on Priest. Da Vinci sent Priest to the outside and went for a toupee suicider, but Priest caught him and hit a flatliner on Da Vinci onto the broadcast table. Table Priest was on the top rope when Da Vinci caught him with a slap before he attempted a superplex, but Priest headbutted the Da Vinci off the top rope. Da Vinci got back to the top rope, hitting a superplex before blocking Priest's broken arrow and hitting his falcon arrow for near fall. Priest rolled out of the ring, but Da Vinci caught him with three toupee suiciders on Priest and sent him over to the. But Da Vinci hit a bust kick on Priest before hitting a suicide dive on Priest, but Priest kicked out at 2. Da Vinci went for a rolling elbow, but Priest caught him for a jab before hitting a chest kick. Da Vinci did a rolling elbow on Priest, but Priest was spotted for headlock driver on Da Vinci for a near fall. Priest went for a chokeslam, but Da Vinci landed on his feet before Priest caught him with a discus elbow on Da Vinci. Da Vinci got to the top rope, but Priest caught him for a tornado kick before hitting an avalanche Frankensteiner for a near fall. Priest hit a vicious lariat onto Da Vinci's chest before hitting a second. Priest went for a third, but Da Vinci rolled over and hit the pedigree on Priest to get the win, but Priest kicked out at 2 on the apron, and Da Vinci and Priest won before Damien Priest went for a roundhouse kick, but Da Vinci evaded and hit Priest with a powerbomb onto the barricade. Da Vinci sent Priest back into the ring, but Finn Balor came into it, but then after that, Judgment Day tried it, but Finn Balor and Judgment Day tried to interfere, but Giant Da Vinci took care of them. Priest saw the opening and hit a forearm followed by a sit-out chokeslam on Da Vinci for a near fall, but Da Vinci laid in the forearm strikes before hitting the death sentence for the win. Winner and still NWS Universal Champion Giant Da Vinci. Joe Gardner down there would break down the NWS Revolution loaded pay-per-view card and plug the main event. As it was, but before that, NWS Revolution, then then Michael Scott's mind and Paul Heyman testified against Scott Casey Gale. Michael Scott's mind and Paul Heyman approached the witness stand. Michael Miner says Scott Casey Gale never gave him a rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship since Michael Miner won at Revolution Mania 2 in 2017. Michael Scott's minor and says Scott always mistreated him and forced him to compete in the gauntlet matches against his own will, forced him to wrestle while he was on vacation, caused him to get injured just like he hired Psycho Mercer to brutally attack him 2 weeks ago. Paul Heyman says Scott Gale also forced him to compete in wrestling matches against his own will as well, knowing he is not a wrestler, and threatened to suspend him without pay and even threatened to fire him on numerous occasions and pin false charges against him. Even so, Baron Lincoln Potter agreed and said that Michael Scott's minor and Paul Heyman are telling the truth. Judge Millian says she has heard enough of these two complainers and told them to get up the witness stand now. And she meant that. She meant exactly what she said. And then it was the main event. NWS World Heavyweight Championship, General Jerry versus Zed. This was the main event as General J and Zed wrestled back and forth with move after move and submission after submission. Jerry gives Zed a face breaker and a face buster, then a neck breaker and back breaker, then an Irish whip as Zed hits Jerry with a cutter and fireman's carry, then a double leg takedown and arm dragon power slam as Jerry comes back with an alley oop, an airplane spin, then an Apache cutter and Frankensteiner. Zed hits a missile drop kick on Jerry in a couple of suplex variations as he locks Jerry in a camel clutch as he lands a moonsault, then a baseball slide. Zed then punt kicks Jerry, goes to pin him, gets his shoulder up, but he gets his shoulder up and plants a Kinshasa and burning hammer. Then Zed boots Jerry, delivers a Canadian destroyer, and drops the razor's edge on Jerry. Goes to pin him, but somehow, someway, Jerry kicks out at 2.5. This match goes on for 10 more minutes, and in the end, Jerry delivers the atom bomb on Zed and gets the pinfall and retains the NWS World Heavyweight Championship. Winner and still NWS World Heavyweight Champion General Jerry via pinfall with atom bomb as this match lasted 19 minutes and 24 seconds. After the match, Jerry and Zed shake hands as a sign of respect. Wow, what a main event. What a great main event match between the NWS World Heavyweight Champion General Jerry and Zed. Wow. Just wow. Those guys can definitely go. And then Zubair TV comes down as he and Jerry have a stare down. Then bar as then they get into a bar as security has to separate them and pull them apart. And then NWS Revolution. Then the trial of Scott Casey Gale Part 5. The final verdict. 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, testifies against Scott Casey Gale. Now it is time for Barack Obama to testify against Scott Casey Gale as he claims Scott Casey Gale is indeed a racist, an egotistical egomaniac, a fraud, a liar, and dictator who abuses his power and employees. Obama says Scott Casey Gale only gives major pushes and titles to his cronies and never to wrestlers that truly deserve it unless they grovel to him and worship the ground he walks on. Barack Obama says that he will finally put an end to Scott Casey Gale's ownership and abuse of power this Sunday at Revolution noted in the steel cage match. Judge Milian calls for a recess. When they get back into recess, Judge Milian asks the jury if they reach a verdict and Scott Casey Gale is found not guilty and is acquitted. Barack Obama gets mad and attacks Scott Casey Gale as he leaves, then delivers a clothesline from hell to Scott Casey Gale in the courtroom. Ethan Zobel and Lincoln Potter then ordered the Deadly Renegade Society to ambush Scott Casey Gale as they drop him the finishers. In the courtroom, Barack Obama gets a metal pipe and hits Scott Casey Gale in the face with it, knocking him unconscious and busting him open. Obama says this Sunday he will take away his power and the new owner, chairman, and CEO of the NWS Revolution. Barack Obama says he will be the new owner, chairman, and CEO of the NWS Revolution this Sunday at Revolution noted. And then Barack Obama, Ethan Zobel, Lincoln Potter, and the Deadly Renegade Society leave the courthouse as NWS co-gentlemen Don Carlos and me check out an unconscious Scott Casey Gale as the show goes off the air. Wow. That was crazy. Wow. What a cowardly attack from What a cowardly attack from even from the Deadly Renegade Society. Ambushing Barack Obama cowardly attacked Scott Casey Gale because Barack Obama did not like the fact that Scott Casey Gale was found not guilty and was acquitted. This whole entire trial of Scott Casey Gale was nothing more than the plan to try and school Scott Casey Gale over, but it backfired. And Barack Obama and the Deadly Renegade Society could not stand it. Yeah, so Scott Casey Gale is not guilty. All the stuff that, and I know for sure that Ethan Zobel and Nicky Potter set this whole entire thing up just to make Scott Casey Gale look bad, but it didn't work. It backfired. I know for sure Scott Casey Gale can't wait to get his hands on Barack Obama in a steel cage match this Sunday at Revolution Loaded for 100% ownership of the NWS Revolution. It's going to be Scott Casey. It's going to be Scott Casey Gale, also known as ScottyBadbones, versus 44th President of the United States Barack Obama in a steel cage match for ownership of the NWS Revolution with NWS Revolution President Ethan Zobel as a special guest ring announcer and timekeeper. And it's going to be the NWS Revolution with NWS Revolution Vice President Nicky Potter as a special guest referee. And there's going to be another special guest referee, a mysterious special guest referee. I can't say who it is, but let's just say things are looking good for Scott Casey Gale. That is all Michael Cole got to say. I would rate Revolution Impact 5 stars, 2 thumbs up, way up, a solid 10 out of 10, and an A+. And I will be back here this Sunday to give you my recap and review of the NWS Revolution Loaded pay-per-view, which will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you for watching. You all have a good day, and this is Michael Cole signing off. See you Sunday for the NWS Revolution Loaded pay-per-view review. And I will also be doing commentary along with Joe Gotti and Dan Levitt for the NWS Revolution pay-per-view. Thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.